What's up guys, today I wanted to make a quick video to show you just how to play the Mistweaver monk, and in general maybe how to play a healer. Maybe you could learn a few things from this video if you want to know how to play a healer. But guys, I wanted to say a couple things before I start this video. One, the Mistweaver monk is a fantastic class. If you're considering healing in Legion, then I highly suggest you go for the Mistweaver monk, because the Mistweaver monk is just fantastic. Of course, it's up to you. However, I would tell you to consider the Mistweaver monk. I love the Mistweaver monk. It's so much fun. It's just so much more fun. Also, guys, you might notice a cutting through the video, and that's because I rewatched the video I actually made. This is a retake, and in that the beginning for some reason was fucked up. So just keep that in mind. And lastly, I have a cold, so if I do sound like I'm sick, that's probably why. Anyway, let's get right into it. Now, healing is a lot more different than DPS / tanking, but the idea behind it is similar to tanking. Now, healing takes really two things to master it. Two things, that's it. One is decision making, and two is knowing your fight. Now, as I said before, healing takes two things, which is decision making and knowing your fight. And the reason why it takes decision making is, I'll explain right now. Well, as a healer, you have mana. Now, mana is a resource you actually need to preserve. Not like a DPS, where it's something that you barely ever notice, because, I mean, who notices their mana as a DPS? But as a healer, you actually need to notice that mana, because these abilities, your toolkit, will spend mana. And if you run out of mana, you won't be able to heal, which is not a good thing, because you'll probably wipe at that point. Now, it really comes down to this. It comes down to knowing your toolkit. As a healer, it's much more different to a DPS. Now, a DPS has a set rotation. That DPS constantly uses that rotation over and over again, because that you want to maximize your DPS, so you constantly keep using that rotation with minor changes here and there to maximize your DPS efficiency. However, with healing, it's much more different. You're given a toolkit, and you're given this bar, and at certain situations, you will need to use different tools that fit the situation without wasting your mana. Now, you have 5 spells. As a Mistweaver monk, you have 5 spells, 5 tools in your toolkit for healing. And these mix and match to make your healing. And you need to be smart about whether I should use a Fuse or Vivify or Enveloping Mist or Renewing Mist or even Essence Font to heal my target. It really comes down to decision making. Now, what about Essence? Let's go start off. A Fuse. Now, a Fuse is a 22,000 mana cost. Keep that in mind. And it's a fast and efficient spell. Efficient in terms of mana consumption, healing the target for 54,000 health. Now, that's not helpful, because 54,000 isn't much at all. It's barely anything. Don't get into that Warlord of Draenor mindset where you think it's a lot. No, it's not. It's barely anything. But what it does do is it triggers your Soothing Mist. Now, Soothing Mist is different now. It's not the same way. It doesn't work the same. Soothing Mist lasts for ages, and when you use your Fuse, your Vivify, or your Enveloping Mist, it will trigger a Soothing Mist. This Soothing Mist lasts literally for fucking, as you can see, it lasts for like centuries, man. But yeah, it lasts for ages, and with a talent, I'm able to move, but usually you wouldn't be able to move. But I chose a talent that allows me to move whilst casting this. And it works the same way. It heals over time. It heals the target over time. So you can see how this kind of works already. You're not going to be using a Fuse for that quick burst heal, because it doesn't really heal for that much. I'm just getting lucky crits. But what you will be using your Fuse for is to trigger your Soothing Mist, because that's what you're going to be doing. Now, Vivify. This is a Fuse on steroids. When you heal someone, it will choose the 2 nearest injured allies, and it will heal them for 85,000. So, you know, obviously that's good. So it really is. It's a Fuse on steroids, and at certain points you would actually be using this to actually like heal for that burst that it gives, because that multi healing it gives, that chain heal, is so helpful. It's so helpful. That chain heal is such a fantastic thing because at some points you're gonna get people with who are taking multiple damage at multiple times, and once you use your Vivify, of course, it will heal them like two of the nearest injured targets, which is it's just such a fantastic thing. I love Vivify. I think in dungeons it's more helpful than it is in raids, because in dungeons you only have 5 people, so that healing of 2 nearest injured allies is actually much more helpful. However, I think it's actually not going to be that helpful in a raid situation. Of course, it will still have its value, but it's not going to be as helpful. But as you can see, it takes double the amount of mana that a fuse takes. So you're going to be losing a lot of mana with using this spell, as you can see right there. So you need to be smart when using this. You're not going to be wanting to spam this because you're going to quickly run out of mana. You're very quickly going to be running out of mana, which is of course not what you want. Give it 20 of these and you run out of mana. And of course that's not what you want, because if you run out of mana, you're not going to be able to heal. So you shouldn't spam this, because you're not going to constantly need to spam this. So if someone's, for example, high on health, everybody has a consistent amount of health, and they're all pretty high on their health. It's a very simple part of the encounter. There's not much going on, and there's only like not that much damage taken in the actual fight. Then you're not going to be using your Vivifies or your Enveloping Mists. You're going to be using your Soothing Mist, your Fuse, because you don't need to use your Vivifies, because you're not healing anything. So in a sense, what you're doing is you're saving your mana. What they call it is overhealing. When you overheal something is when you when someone's max health and you keep healing them, and that's overhealing, and that's bad. The more you overheal, the worse, because if you overheal, that means you're wasting mana, which is not necessary. It's really not necessary. So that's Vivifying, and you've also got Enveloping Mist. Now this is your main healing spell. Your tank's getting hit pretty bad. This is what you want to use, your Enveloping Mist. Now, as you can see, it takes 66,000 mana, triple the amount of mana. Exactly triple the amount that a Fuse takes. Now, Enveloping Mist is a hot, and it heals over time, and it has a load of healing. It heals for a ton. And this is your main healing spell. However, as you can see, it takes a decent amount of mana. So what you want to be doing is, at certain times, your tank is taking loads of damage. You want to use your Enveloping Mist, and then that Soothing Mist that it triggers will heal them, and you're almost safe for a period of time. Your Enveloping Mist is something you need to decide when you should use it, and this also correlates to the idea of knowing your fight, because when you know your fight, you know when the time that your tank or /DPS is going to take that substantial amount of damage that you would need to cast your Enveloping Mist. So that's how it relates, that decision making and that knowing your fight. Because knowing your fight will allow you to predict when, these massive bursts of damage will happen. And therefore, it will allow you to stack healing at that certain time, which is necessary. Now, moving on to the last one. One of the last pieces of your toolkit is Renewing Mist. Now, Renewing Mist is on a cooldown, and it does not trigger your Soothing Mist. We just got a Vivify proc, which I just wanted to quickly do, because I don't like leaving procs. I just don't like it. But anyway, Renewing Mist is a hot, and it will heal over time. It doesn't heal much, but it heals over time. So this is something you want to be spreading. You always want active. You always want at least 2 of these, or at least 1, not 2. At least 1 of these active at all times. And what it will do is it will jump to targets who actually need that healing. It's a smart system. I really like it. I love renewing mist. It's such a perfect thing. But you need to be smart about how to control this. This is a hot that should always be active because it barely takes any mana, and its cooldown is low, and its actual like duration is very long. So this is something that should always be active. It should never not be active, and if it isn't, then you should always get into the habit, or even get some add-ons that allow you to track your renewing mist. Now, last and most importantly is your essence font. Now this takes a shit 4 times the amount of mana that a fuse takes. Look at that mana, man. Look at that mana lost. But if your essence font is your AoE healing, and it's something I don't really use that much. Maybe because I've only been playing dungeons so far, but it's something that I don't see many people using that much because of just the sheer amount of mana it takes. It takes so much mana. But Essence Font sends these little bubble things around and heals targets in a small area. It heals them for 25 yards, 6 allies within 25 yards. And it heals them for a decent amount, not that much, but a decent amount. Good for an AoE heal, but it also takes a load of mana. So again, you need to be smart about when you want to use this. Is it the right time to use it? Are there people around me within 25 yards? How many? Are they all damaged? Are they the right people I should be healing? It's just about knowing how to structure and just decision making. It really is decision making. Why would I use an enveloping mist when my tank is at full health and I don't need to spend that mana on him? What's the point? If he's at full health, all I really need to, and I want consistent healing on him, all I need to do is activate my soothing mist. It's not taking any of my mana, but it heals them. So it's just this idea of decision making. It really is. It's how you spend your mana, and if you spend it well, and that really correlates to the idea of knowing your fight. Because if you know your fight, you know what's gonna happen. You know when to stack your heals. You know when to use your enveloping mist. You know when to not use that much heals. Because you know your fight. You know what's coming. So that's your job as a healer. That's the main thing you need to keep in mind as a healer. Now back to the point, which is how to play your Mistweaver. Now, for talents, for tier 1, I chose Send Pulse. I like it a lot. What you do is you focus on your tank. I have it hotkeyed to my 6. You go to your tank, and when there's a bunch of mobs around them, you use it, and it will heal that tank for the amount of damage done, for a percentage of the amount of damage done to the mob pack or anything for that matter. And it's just a really good heal. When there's more mobs, the more it will heal, of course. And it's just a really effective and good healing ability. I like it a lot more than the other two. I don't know. It's my opinion. It's like an AoE heal. It's really helpful. It adds more utility to the actual Mistweaver in general. For tier 2, it doesn't really matter which one you take. I go for Chi Torpedo because I like it more. It's more enjoyable to. It's just fun, just really cool. Just getting blasted off into the distance, like rolling through the air. I just think it's cool. For tier 3, I go for Mist Wrap, which allows you to move whilst using a fuse, which is so helpful. You might like the other two more. However, I just can't play without Mist Wrap because moving around allows you to dodge certain mechanics that a boss has, whilst at the same time being able to heal. And with that, it works really well with your summon Jade Serpent statue, because your Jade Serpent statue will also heal, which is fantastic, because then you'll be healing a decent amount whilst being able to move, which is perfect. For tier 4, I go for Leg Sweep, which is such a good ability, and you really need to utilize it. Say if your tank overpulled, and he overpulled, and there's too many enemies. and you just go in, you leg sweep, all the trash is stunned. It gives you and your team a lot more time, which is so much more helpful, because the more time you get, the better. So of course that relates to that. With that time, you could obviously make decisions how you're gonna heal, and also your DPSs and tanks can make do their own shit, whatever they need to do. For tier 5, I go for dampen harm. It doesn't matter which one you take, but you should usually avoid healing elixir. It's not that great. I just go for dampen harm because it's easy to use, and it's just an save my ass spell, I guess. For tier 6, I go for Summon Jade Serpent Statue because this fucking ability, man, it's great. However, these two are also very liable, including the Red Crane, because this guy is insane, man. He just, you summon him and he goes everywhere for like 45 seconds. He lasts for ages. It's ridiculous. And last, but finally not least, tier 7, Focus Thunder. Thunder Focus T now empowers your next 2 spells. I wouldn't go for either of the other two. I really wouldn't, because one is Mana Tea is stupid now, in my opinion. I think it's really stupid, and Focus Thunder Tea is just such a fucking brilliant thing, and I'll show you what it does soon. Now, which is what I'm actually going to show you now. Focus Thunder Tea. You receive a jolt of energy, empowering your next 2 spells cast. It's usually 1 spell, but of course, I got that talent, which makes it 2 spells cast. And what it does: so Renewing Mist, it does not trigger a cooldown. A Fuse, healing increased by 200%. Enveloping Mist, instant cast. Essence Font, castable while moving. And Vivify, no mana cost. So you see how this relates. What I like doing personally is I like, for example, triggering my Thunder Tea, going to my tank or whoever needs the healing, using my Enveloping Mist, then going to another target, using my Renewing Mist that doesn't trigger a cooldown, and then using it again on another target. So we have 2 Renewing Mists, and sorry, let me close it. We have 2 Renewing Mists, and we have a Vivify out, which is perfect. We have an Enveloping Mist, 2 Renewing Mists, and an Enveloping Mist, all within the span of like 2 seconds / 3 seconds. And that's how great Thunder Focus Tea is. And it's only a 30-second cooldown, so you're going to be doing this a lot, because it's just so helpful. You also have Revival. Now, Revival is something you won't be using that often. It's just something, say if your team is kind of fucked, you kind of need something to save your ass, you use it. It's pretty cool, I guess. It's not that helpful. It's just a big cooldown that heals a lot of your party. And you also have Detox. Now, another thing as a healer is you don't only heal. You make the lives of everybody so much more easier. That's your job, kind of. And what you do also as a healer is you also need to track buffs and debuffs, dangerous buffs and debuffs, on your tank or on your DPSs in general. Now, this comes in handy when knowing your fight. This is also something important when knowing your reason why you need to know your fight. This is an important reason why you need to know your fight, is because you know when certain diseases / debuffs a boss may cast, or buffs a boss may cast on the tank, is dangerous enough that you need to detox it, or massive damage will be done, or just cleanse that target. If you don't, then there are certain times where you're not gonna know whether should I detox this target? Should I not? Sorry. Should I leave it because it's not really that helpful if I detox this target and I'll just be triggering a detox cooldown? Do I need to detox him? Is the question. So you need to know your fight. That's something you can't say no to. You need to know your fight, and decision making is something you learn over time. So yeah, you've got of course Summon Jade Serpent Stone, which is your talent. Also have you also have Reawaken. No. You have Transcendence. Now, Transcendence is pretty cool. I like Transcendence. It's kind of utility. It's really cool. So you place that in like a raid situation, and whenever you need to teleport back to it, you just click that again, and you can click it again, and you'll teleport back to that location. So it's really cool. It's basically like unlimited teleports, more or less. Now, what about the combat aspect of it? Now, the combat aspect is very simple. It's so disgustingly simple. So what you want to do is you want to start off with a rising sun kick, and then what you want to do is you want to use your tiger palms, and what that will do is give you teaching of the monastery, which can stack up only to 3 times. And then what you would usually do, what that does is your next blackout kick strikes an additional time, and since it stacks 3 times, it strikes additional 3 times. And your blackout kick has the ability to reset your rising sun kick. So you want to start off with rising sun kick. You want to build up that teaching of the monastery. You want to use your blackout kick, and it will usually reset your rising sun kick. So it's kind of how it works, you know. Build up those stacks, reset your rising sun kick, rinse and repeat. It's so simple. It's so simple. And you're not going to be doing this much, but you're only going to really be doing this if you need to. You also have spinning crane kick, which is your AoE. Doesn't do that much damage, but you can spam the shit out of it because it takes barely any mana. You can just spam as much as you want. Yeah, but it doesn't really matter the damage you deal, but it's just such a helpful thing when you don't need to heal and there's no reason for you to heal. You can just do some damage, help the team out, you know. Crackling Jade Lightning is useless, so I'm not going to really go over it. Now you have your artifact ability, Shaylin's Gift. It's helpful. Over time in a fight, it will build up with more stacks, and it's helpful. It is helpful because at certain points at the time, your tank may take a large amount of damage, maybe midway through the fight, and probably in midway through the fight, your Shaylin's Gift will have stacked 12 times, so it would be healing a lot. So currently it's at 7 stacks, and that heal for I think 350,000, which is a decent amount. 12 is the max's stacks, so you're gonna be using that, and in that middle of the fight, you're never gonna use it in the beginning of the fight because there's no reason to, because you're not gonna have any stacks. You may have like 2 or 3, which is not going to be any fucking help, so there's no reason to use it. So you're going to be waiting at the mid/end of the fight where you actually have 12 stacks of it, and it will be helpful when you need it. For example, when a tank is taking a shit ton of damage, etc, etc. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The last couple things I want to talk about is Life Cocoon, which is something that saves your ass. It's kind of like a revival, except it shields your tank, and it just absorbs damage, and it increases that healing over time by 50%, which is it's great, and it lasts 12 seconds. It's just a life-saving ability, kind of. It saves your ass, it saves your tank's ass. It's very helpful. I love Life Cocoon, and that's really it. That's what you need to know as a healer, as a Mistweaver monk. That is it. That's all the abilities covered, and that's everything you really should be aware of. Now, keep in mind that to play really a healer, it really boils down to 2 things, and I said this before, but it's decision making and knowing your fight. If you master those 2, then you're done. You're a good healer. You're a good healer. That's all you need to think about: decision making and knowing your fight. And if you get those down, you're going to be a great healer. Anyway, guys, that's been my time. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't, well, tell me why you haven't. If you have, please leave a like. And if you enjoyed it that much, subscribe, you know. It just helps out the channel. Anyway, thank you, guys. See you in the next video.